Okay, folks, so get this. Someone you love passes away, right? And of course, you want them to have a respectful, farewell.
Of course.
So you take them to a funeral home, but then it turns out the owners of the funeral home are running like this crazy scam.
Yeah.
It's like a true crime thriller or something, and it even involves like faking cremations.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We're diving into the case of this Colorado couple, the Hallfords,
Okay.
and their funeral home, which I gotta say was anything but a place of rest.
It really makes you think about like how vulnerable the funeral industry is and what can happen when there's not enough oversight, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, the Hallfords just recently pleaded guilty to defrauding the government.
Uh-huh.
They got like over $800,000 in COVID relief funds.
Seriously.
Yeah, but it gets worse. I mean, way worse. They're facing a ton of other charges too,
Oh, no.
like abuse of a corpse, money laundering, forgery, like it goes on and on.
And those charges are serious stuff. I mean, they could be looking at 20 years in prison. But honestly, what's really disturbing is that the money crimes are almost overshadowed by what they found at their funeral home in Penrose.
Yeah, okay. So listeners, what I'm about to describe is pretty messed up.
Okay.
So investigators went to the funeral home, right? And they found over 190 bodies just abandoned.
Oh, my gosh.
Some were uncovered, some were like stacked up, some were just on the floor. I mean, it sounded like something out of a horror movie.
That's awful. Can you imagine if one of your loved ones was treated like that? I mean,
They know.
it's heartbreaking to think about the families that trusted these people.
Yeah.
And it gets worse. They also found personal belongings that were supposed to be buried or cremated with the deceased.
What, like jewelry and things?
Yeah, jewelry, letters, photographs, all kinds of stuff. Just scattered all over the place.
Ugh, that's just, I can't even, it's just awful. How could anyone treat the deceased with such disrespect?
Right. It's like they have no regard for human life.
Yeah, and this is exactly why they're facing those abuse of corpse charges.
Absolutely. This case really shows you why we need clear rules about how to handle human remains.
Mhm.
You know, the law is there to make sure the deceased are treated with dignity. And this is just a horrific example of what can happen when those standards are completely ignored.
Totally.
Yep.
And then there's the whole financial side of this too, right?
Right.
The Hallfords were taking money from families, insurance companies, even the state. But instead of using it for, actual funeral services,
Yeah.
they were basically just pocketing it and going on shopping sprees.
So that's where the money laundering charges come in. It's like, imagine you take dirty money
Okay.
and you run it through a car wash to make it look clean.
I gotcha.
That's basically what the Hallfords were doing. They were trying to make it look like they got all this money legally when they didn't.
So they're preying on grieving families at like the worst possible time.
Yeah.
And then using the money to buy themselves stuff.
It's just morally reprehensible.
Totally.
And it makes you wonder how many other funeral homes are doing shady stuff like this. And how can families protect themselves from being exploited like this?
It's a great question. And honestly, I think it deserves way more attention.
For sure.
We put so much trust in funeral homes to take care of our loved ones, and this shows that that trust can be totally misplaced.
And just so everyone knows, this case is still ongoing. There's still a lot more to uncover, and hopefully justice will be served for the families that were betrayed by the Hallfords.
I really hope so, too. This whole situation is just, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
So with all this in mind, what do you think needs to change to prevent something like this from happening again?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we need stronger safeguards, more oversight, something. And as individuals, I think we need to be more informed, like really do our research before choosing a funeral home.
Yeah. This is like a nightmare scenario, and nobody should have to go through it.
Agreed.
Thanks for breaking it all down.
Of course, anytime.
And thanks for listening to this deep dive.
See ya.
See ya.